Rahubat family, this is a testimony given by a dedicated Nawabian and a local Georgia school teacher. And out of character, I'm going to move this testimony in the beginning of the class, and it was really located toward the end of the class. So keep the sequence in mind as we move forward. Peace.
Go ahead.
Okay, greetings, family. Rahubat. My name is Amun. I'm here to share an experience or memory that's in my mind with the family, with the children. And basically, I'm a visitor like many of us are. I was dispatched here from the Ladies Constellation in the wake station, what we refer to as the heaven or a station, not from a planet, but from a star station. And if anybody knows anything about older home series or text, speaks about children that were being born in 1970, certain ones that were being born in 1966. And basically, what happened was I had pre-birth memories because the mind expands outside of the body. The mind is not contained to the body. And basically, what happened was I remember sitting in like a tenant area, and I was sitting down for whatever reason. I decided to get up and look into what appeared to be not a television set, but it sat, if you can imagine, an oval type of table, and you can stand up and look into it. And looking into it, we have what's called remote viewing. And as I looked into it, I saw two people engaged in sexual activity, which I later found out was to be my parents, because we actually select our parents. And as I looked into it, I just kind of, cracked a smile. And the beings that were there were Nubian, they were men. I'm not saying there weren't any women there, but from my point of view, from what I saw, I didn't see any women. We were all drowned in white robes. Most had beards, some didn't, afros. And as I looked into the, for lack of a better word, television set and the screen, I thought the people engaged in sexual activity. And I guess in a moment's time, I was called. I didn't get a chance to sit back down. I was called from my rear right at an angle. And the gentleman called me and he told me to come forth. And I got that sensation, like when you were a child and you was called to the principal's office or butterflies. I got that same sensation. This isn't anything spiritual. I was a physical person. I was a grown man, so to say. And I was taken into a room and I stood before what was basically be an aura. That's what I can describe it. The aura was a golden color, bright, not a bright gold, but a strong gold color, illuminating, and you couldn't see around it or above it, anything like that. And it communicated with me telepathically. I stood very humbly, my head bowed, arms crossed in front of me, and I was basically given instructions about where I would be going, the planet Earth, the conditions that the planet would be in, but from its last cycle, the ruling force at the time and how to be ruling people. I was communicated with about people who had, let's call them prophets or teachers who had come before and showed me some places. One I remember particularly was the prophet who we've been known as the Prophet Muhammad in the teachings of Dr. Malachi, how he looked Ahmed. And I was spoken to about my parents, over my father, how they were good people. They do a good job of raising me, but not to get caught up in the worldly activities, not to get caught up and engrossed by the world. There would come a time where I would have to separate from them. And if I didn't, I got caught up in the world, etc., then, when I was called back or brought back, I'd be put in great, or I'd be left behind. It's really hard for me to remember because it happened a long time ago. But I remember shaking my head like as in, no, I'm not going to get caught up. And one of the things they also do, we have screens there where they can show you either scenes of your life or situations. And they'll ask you, okay, what would you do in this situation? How do you handle this situation? Because they're basically testing you to see if you're capable of handling it. The same way that the Matt talked about the two beings, Gog and Magog, and the actually three, and they decided to come down and they wanted to be tested. And one returned and two stayed down and they got caught up in the world. But they actually, they showed me scenes. I don't know if it was actually my life or representation of how I help situations. But, I answered them, and pretty much it's like in school. If you ask, what do you say when somebody else is drugs, pretty much all the kids are going to say no. But, you have to go through that test, but you're still going to be tried. So, make a long story short, I was, they finished prepping me and giving me information about what to expect. They told me that they would be there to guide and to help, because there was so much being thrown at me at once that you feel almost overwhelmed. And they told me to look for the land. And I remember a faith of, we know it's at the Malachi George in his younger days that Imam Hussein had that magic. And he had the Islamic garb on with the Imam, the Azaba, the white garb, and he was holding the staff, which he described as the little lamb. And if anybody seen any of the old Revelation series or the old Family Guy, that lamb picture, and so they told me to look for the lamb, and that was pretty much it. And then I remember facing space, and there was a man on my right side who had his arm around me. I this one part of it too. And the last thing that the aura told me was to remember. Kept saying it, just remember.
So the aura that told you to remember?
Yeah, it was the aura.
Okay. I saw that amber aura before in Brooklyn in 81 when I first met Imam Issa. It was in him, okay? I saw that, as Melchizedek on Bushwick when I first, and then I went into a room, and the room, all the walls turned the light to. I just want to let you know you're not alone in this, so go ahead.
Yeah. So, the aura just told me to remember. And then I was facing space. And as I was facing space, there was a man on my right side. He had his arm around me. And he had a look of concern, because I guess we were saying goodbye. And he just kept saying the same thing. Just remember. He was speaking to me telepathically. Just remember. And then I remember facing him. And he got smaller and smaller. I was moving away from him. He got smaller and smaller and smaller. He disappeared. And then I was astral projected, effortlessly traveling through space and darkness. And couldn't see anything. You're not really aware of motion, but you kind of know that you're in motion. And you don't feel anything. And I guess the travel took approximately around 20 minutes. And then as I began to come into the Earth's atmosphere, you have flashes of colors because you're coming through the ozone layer, the ionosphere, and you see all colors of the rainbow flashing before what appears to be your sight. And then you stop, and the sudden stop was pretty much like the end of a roller coaster ride. I remember saying to myself, like, and I'm conscious, I'm aware. The baby that I was placed inside of was into its 9 months for development. And I remember crying, feeling helpless, and certain scenes stick out at the house more than others. I remember being excited, being down here trying to explain. I was trying to talk to my mom and explain to her about, Christianity, because, the gold aura told me that one of the things that the negative forces used to control people was religion more over Christianity. And I guess I was complaining about Christianity because that's what my parents were. Because I was trying to tell her that I was, about Christianity and about how some Pleiades. I was really trying to tell her about Pleiades. I couldn't communicate, and to her, it was just, fake talk. But she was just smiling with me, etc. And I realized that she didn't really understand what I was saying. Because people don't realize that babies are a lot more conscious and aware of what they think. They're very conscious beings. And they vibrate off their instinct. They can see auras. I remember seeing people with auras. Some people that I didn't want to be around because the auras was red. And some people that I gravitated to. And I felt that I was in new surroundings. I didn't feel like I was an old boy. I had been here before. And as I remember being on the floor after baby on the carpet, and I was reflecting on where I had been dispatched from in the Pleiades constellation.
The toy.
Not that I am a Pleiadian, but that's where we resided because the Riskians was the Pleiades. That's towards Orion and those spots when they had to leave their planet. And I remember sitting there to test myself, just remember, and I was just reflecting, and my father came down and put a toy in front of me. It was a red and yellow, like a twinkie caterpillar. And I remember when I saw it, I reached out and grabbed it. And as I grabbed it, it was at that moment where my memory started to, I began to get more earthly, because if you don't have parents that are spiritual, that keep you in tune and put you around spiritual environments, and all they know is to give you toys to fascinate you to put in a very vivid, just cut off from that. And I gradually, really, at that point, I don't remember anything else as far as the memory of having that memory. And as time went on, I've had questions. I would always be enthused about extraterrestrials in Egypt. And I remember seeing, as a young boy, asking my mother about the energy around her body. And she couldn't explain it, so I just pretty much ignored it. And just moved up in my mind. And as I grew up, trying to blend in, trying to fit in, had some friends, but I always kind of felt alone in a crowd. And as I got to college, I began soul searching. And I went through Native Islam, Sunni Muslims, and I just really asked for the truth. And eventually came an answer, and it was, I got deep into Dr. Malachi in our School of Islam. And I was keeping my 5 prayers up, meditating, things of that nature. And I remember one day I was reading the 83rd chapter of the Quran that talks about Ilion, and began with a positive and negative deeds, etc. And it just came back to me. Yeah. And I just stopped, and I was like, the first thing I said is, I remember. And I got really emotional. I started crying because I knew that I wasn't from here, knew that I was a visitor. And now it was just about, going on the journey of trying to find out, why was I still here, what's my purpose, and different things of that nature. But I know it's a lot of people who have the same experience with the children, or the golden children, as the Master God are here. They're just extraterrestrials. And there's different people that's in different parts of the universe, and we're here for whatever reason. And, now it's about the journey back to know the school, for us to learn and to groom our souls. So, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And people that if they think that, they're not being watched, you could be watched. One, you're watching yourself because you're your own judge, and you can't hide from yourself. But our family, they do have what's called remote viewing. So it's not like any deed is going undone. That's why the Master said, walking the light of the sun is awesome at all times. That's pretty much it.
Well, look, I appreciate that. We all appreciate it. And I do want to say that by the source, and that's what I believe it was, is Al-Hayu, that you and I both witnessed or saw was in the presence of, all praises to, telling you repeatedly to remember. I think that it was a blessing for you to remember, and that you to make that statement to us now is to try to get us, for you to act as a catalyst, try to get us to also remember, right? And yes, you're right. We are familiars, and family members, because as a child, at 7 years old, the first time I remember seeing when I first started having out-of-body experiences that I recall, as seeing my mother's aura the first time, singing gospel at the kitchen sink, a real bright blue aura. The strongest color was blue in it that I remember. But, seeing auras and different things like that. So, yes, all of it's real, and I just hope everybody takes it to heart. And we're going to use that as leverage to try to catapult ourselves to the next level. And I thank you so much, our Most family. Thank you for your time. And may the Most High fold you in the celestial blanket of love and mercy. You're doing your job.
Thank you, and we appreciate all what you're doing. And as long as the family knows it's not about religion.
It's not about religion.
Like that.
I know it. Peace out. Let's go to the Holy Tablets, chapter 11, tablet 4. Let me know when everybody's there. Holy Tablets, chapter 11, tablet 4. The secrets of Adolpha. Lo, these are the secrets that I, Adolpha, son of Jared, passed on to my son, Methuselah, about the galactical heavens, walking and talking with the Anunnaki, living and learning from the Anunnaki, as I climbed the ladder of 33 steps to Malachi. Now, 33 should be significant to you all by now. Well, think about your spinal column. When we're talking about going to the heavens, we're talking about ascending, like when Jacob wrestled with the angel, rather, and he saw them in the vision, ascending and descending up and down the ladder from heaven. Remember, he was dreaming, so he saw it in his mind. The ladder is your spinal column. I found my real soul waiting to return to Al-Shakor. That means the grateful in Arabic. I asked it, speaking about its soul, who are you? It answered, I am you. I asked it, for how long have I been gone? It answered, 76 trillion years. Then I sat down to stay, and a voice called unto me from beneath me, O Adolpha, son of Jared, thou must return to the planet Earth, to descend back. voice I proclaim, this place is my earth. Am I not in reality a Riskian? Yes, but you and your kind chose the freedoms of thought that earth promises. And isn't this my original home, the home I love? I know it is, and I hope so. Yet I stood without will to reject the command, knowing it was him. And he, the ever-forgiving, forgave me out of his mercy. As I raised my eyes each day in shadow hours unto him, my hands upon my heart, my head ready to meet the planet Earth from where I came, I asked, O El Wadu, that means the loving, out of your love, find to forgive all humans. O merciful of those who show mercy, forgive us our weaknesses. We will indeed repent and never return to the disagreeable state again. Malachi speaks of the true El. The true El is he who is called who is. We know that's the force of creative will. And there is no El Elo deity except the true El, known as Anu, meaning nothing would exist if who did not create it. And all exist within Al-Kalun. And nothing would exist if all did not will it. And glory be to Al-Kalun. O Anu, also called An, the heavenly one, Elyon El, the Most High, the highest, who is Ra, the Allah, the Elroy, the true El of the Anunnaki, Elohim, the Malachi, who are the Nephilim, and the Gibborim, who are the Seraphim and the Cherubim. These are the many titles of the Anunnaki, and the Agigi, the righteous ones, known to us as Denir, the righteous ones of the Sham, rocket ship, who have come down to us from above. O righteous ones, when thou descend into and around me, guide me in all I do. Help me, that I may help all human beings. Let me speak from your head, and not my own. Let me care from your heart, and not my own. Let me see from your eyes, and not my own. I am to serve, not rule. Make me of the best of your servants. O Anu, the heavenly one, the true El of the Anunnaki, of the Elohim, thou art the light of all lights, the truth of all truth, creator of all creators. Tablet 5. Adafa meets the reptilian Shakar, also called Halal. Lo, Adafa, 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 Adafa. He cried and said, I saw grass, I saw seeds, I saw birds, I saw insects, I felt heat, I felt pain, I felt hunger, and I knew I had returned. Each state I fell, he's descending back into this realm again, only to return to that very place, only to learn, never say never. Forgive me, O Father, I obey your every command. If earth is where thou want me, earth is my home. If hell is where thou want me, hell is my home. For those just arriving, this tablet 5 of chapter 11 of the Holy Tablets. That's tablet 5, chapter 11 of the Holy Tablets, verse 15. And for the right to ask to be forgiven as the light falls from heaven, and the disagreeable Halal lead them away. I ask not to be like them, and to never go astray. Me pray each time, and as a baby cries upon hearing this, the disagreeable one Halal appeared and asked, To whom besides me do thou ask for help? I answered, El Yahuwah, and him alone do I worship. And his answer was, I rule the galactical heavens, and I will rule the planet Earth. Even El Yahuwah knows of my power and fears me. At that very moment, his right eye fell out, and he cried out, El Hakim, forgive me. That's the all-wise. Adafa, tablet 6. Adafa speaks to his father, Jared. Lo, O my father, Jared, son of Mahalalel, blessed by you, for your work in the way of El Jalil, that's the beneficent. May all the idols of the demons shatter to dust, from which Enocyte's hands share them. On the day of the gathering of souls, may the spirit of Halal burn, and may the heat of his burning burn those who hearken unto him. If the salt of the sea is tasted in a sip, so shall their sins be seen by Al-Karim, that means the generous. Oh, children, don't let Halal ruin your bodies. Reject him and run on the true path, for the cursed devil and his seed has come down to the planet Earth with thou in mind. O children of the Keba, daughter of Bath and Anath, keep your faith and turn to Alilo in prayer often. As thou walk this planet Earth, keep your head high and your eyes cast down in honor. Protect your royal body from the eyes of disagreeable. Protect your sacred womb from the seed of the anointed cherub. Protect your heart from the things of this world. O mother of our mothers, keep your purity, keep your cleanliness. O mother Nakeba, by your blood will women of the planet Earth be saved. By your faith and loyalty will your seed be healed of the sins of weakness. O vanity, flee from Nakeba, seed. O seed of Nakeba, thou art the mother of truth, the destroyer of a sin, the keeper of the 13 anointed messiahs. The blood is in thee. Tablet 7. Adamites must awaken. Lo, bring their rule to an end. Bring the galactical heavens down to the planet Earth, and the ways of the Anunnaki into the hearts of the human beings. Let mortals awaken. Oil Ra, the sustainer of all the cosmos and the ruler of all the galaxies. We give rule to you, and you alone. Not that we have to, for you control all things, but because we have to and want to do what pleases you. O Ra, sustainer and Al-Kalak, the creator, the all-knowing of all that we do. The seed of Halal has ruled over the planet Earth. O Al-Razak, that's the provider, send help, a help which will not fail. And I ask you, my Father, from my heart, and the galactical heavens opened up, and I saw a light, 4 and 20 in number, Akatrel, Anithiel, Azabugel, Berijuel, Kimuel, Kael, Galgaliel, Haniel, Upiel, Ihuel, Madarin, Raguel, Quadison, Radiarel, Razuel, Ripiel, Mehi, Samuel, Gannon, Sariel, Yapatia, Zagzaguel, and Sanalton. This seat is open to all the news bearers. Coming down singing the praise of Elionel was 24 Anunnaki. And I showed you in the Injil and in the Holy Tablets that the 24 elders were back. And when I showed you that they were back, about 2 weeks after that, they appeared on the Ustream, reading the Patarak visually. Coming down and singing the praise of Elionel was 4 and 20 Anunnaki, headed by Michael himself, whose second name is Yanun. And I told you all that Yanun is back as well. The nature of Adamites. Lo, O Mother Nakeba, could you not have shut your eyes? O Mother Nakeba, could you have turned your heart? The children of Shakar, the old devil, Baba of Halal, rules the souls of many. O Baba Zakar, these Nephilim giants rule. O El Hadi, that means the guide. We thank you for your help and guidance. The agreeable Anunnaki seraphim have come, and with them shall manifest the news bearers of truth and the scroll of eyes, to remove the veil from the eyes of the weak. I call unto the 420 elders. They sit around the throne, and on each side is a beast, the man beast, the wild beast, the flying beast, the grazing beast, and in all of this is the nature of mortals. The light of the scrolls. O son, this is the first day of my life, and the last day of my life. So let me live in peace. Hold on to the light of the scrolls of our father's eyes, all they have seen, and to the strength of his seed. O my sons and daughters, sons of my father's sons, for their desires for the presence of the souls of the dead will draw fatalities upon themselves. And they will go down in sin like the 1/3 Riskians from Ilium, who were cast into the universe before the fall from Orion by Hilal, and the 200 Elohim called the ancient old ones. The voice departed, and then the Anunnaki said, Hear me, O brothers, O sisters. This is my commandment upon thee from Al-Yahuwah to you, to render unto you Khalifa, successors. After such times I shall call you for the resurrection. I have the temple, Kaaba, and the oracle, Hajarat al-Aswad, the black stone, where the familiar spirits speak. And the three did stand in Gan, enclosed garden of delight. Neither suffer ye to worship them, but rather, at the very sight of it, worship Al-Elo. For the disagreeable ones will worship anything save Al-Elo, and find joy when you follow. Learn corporal things. We're in chapter 11 of the Holy Tablets. We're in chapter 11 of the Holy Tablets, tablet 8, verse 27. Learn corporal things. O wife of mine, Kaaliba, a true gift, a true help, mother of my children.
It was through you that Alilo created me, mortal with a corporal life, that he might learn corporal things, that he might learn corporal things, because the Most High lives through you. If you listen to verse 32 again, mortal, it was through you that Alilo created me, mortal with a corporal life, with a physical body, that he might learn corporal things. In other words, through him, that he's living, the Most High is living through you. But behold, the soul has lost all its energy to acquire earthly knowledge. The highest of the soul, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That aspect of you that's not physical, that's the Most High. But behold, the soul has lost its energy to acquire earthly knowledge, depending on their familiar spirits for information on everything, thereby wasting their mortal lives in non-improvement, so that when they die and we enter the lower heavens, they are easily made slaves of disagreeable spirits, cherubim. Better it were for them had they had no knowledge of the spirit life, that they might put to service the talents he created within them. See to this matter, that your children be strong. Tablet 9. Teach your sons. Flow, my sons, I know you by your motherly deeds. I know you as a true mate. Many others have I, but you are my beloved. Teach your sons that they cannot associate with all mortals, or those in the image of mortals, but are jinns, and that their very spirits are from the poisoned wind of the fire of the disagreeable. Nevertheless, refuse thou not all association because of this, for there are such as their fallen countenance with you, who are of the seraphim spirits of the pure green lights. In other words, there are people that's been turned negative by conversion, not by birth, but by influence. And such as are disagreeable to you, sons of disagreeable, are nevertheless compatible to others, jinn and man, man and jinn, who walk the earth. Cursed be them until the day you are raised. Al-Basir, that means the seer, have created a large field. His people are numerous, and there are many in the world, so like others. They are as one in all things. Speaking about us now. Choose ye such, and as ye are one with another, so are you one with the Creator. But most of all, will, virtue, industry, and good works come into the world by the examples you place before the young. Better it is to hide and subdue your temper in the presence of the young than to conquer a whole state by force. Purification. Now, for those that's just coming, it's chapter 11 of the Holy Tablets, tablet 9, verse 11. Count the stars and the joys thou bring me, O El, and I thank thou 1,000 times each day, for the young are your Anunnaki, given to you by their faith. Consider ye then what kind of kingdom ye raised up. Happiness on earth is answered by happiness in heaven, and that which is planted on earth is reaped in heaven. Purification is the first law I give unto thee, saith Elrod, and it is the same with the Zodiakites, the ancients. Ye are a twofold creature, one animal, and the other beast, the one Anunnaki Elohim, and the other reptilian Elohim. Tablet 10, chapter 11 of the Holy Tablets. Your nature, lo, the one side of you lives by divine law and commands you. You shall not eat the flesh of any creature that bleeds and breathes the breath of divine life, nor fish that feed on the carcasses and feces of other fish that lives in the deep seas under the waters. Yet the animal of you says you shall eat what is good and pleasing to you and healthy, because you share a dual nature. Your desire shall be to act upon different emotions at different times. You will want to refrain from eating flesh, but you will desire flesh at the same breath. There is no sin in the consumption of flesh and sea creatures, for your sustenance does not fear for your soul, for it is far beyond the diseases of your body. You shall bathe at least once every day, from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet, and before bathing you shall say, before you, Elilo, I will put away the filth of my spirit body, and the disagreeable of my soul. And after bathing you shall say, as I have with water washed clean my soul, O thou Elilo, help me to make clean my soul. In the daylight hour, when you awaken, and you shall say, help me, O El, to keep my thoughts pure this day, and my soul full of love and tenderness. Tablet 11, Adolpha tells of his character. Lo, Adolpha's a heavy guy. If y'all listen to Adolpha, he's an example to follow. Adolpha tells of his character. Lo, I was born in Ganawa, Sade, the outer garden. I called mortals to walk upward. I counted the stars, I forbid the unsightly. I know all the names of the 124,000 news bearers, and 315 apostles, and 1,300 messiahs before their very birth. Thanks be to Alilo. I was the first to fight in defense of El Tawab. The acceptor of repentance is what El Tawab is. I was the first to write with the Qalam, quill, that's the pen, to copy the Enumi Leech from stone to scroll, and the tablets of Gilgamesh also from stone to scroll. And I was the first to sew the seams in the garments. I traveled through the heavens. Tablet 12, the secrets of Adolpha. Lo, I want y'all to listen to this. I've experienced this, and maybe some of you all have too. And those that haven't yet soon will. Tablet 12, the secrets of Adolpha. Lo, on the first day of the first month of the 356th year, I was alone in my house, and I rested on my bed and slept. And there appeared to me two men very tall, such as I have never seen on earth. And their faces shone like the sun, and their eyes were like burning lamps, and fire came from their lips. Their dress had the appearance of feathers, and their feet were green. Their wings were brighter than gold. Their hands were as the tone of the olive. What he's speaking about is beings that were lit up and radiant with a bright, bright aura, that were brown in skin. They stood at the head of my bed and called me by name. Be of good cheer, Adolpha. Be not afraid. The everlasting one hath sent us to you. And lo, today you shall ascend with us into heaven. Then they told me to wake up my family and servants, and to order them not to seek me until the ruler brings me back to them. This I did, using the opportunity to instruct my sons in the ways of righteousness. I said to my sons, let these scrolls which I have given you be for an inheritance of your peace, and give them to all who want them, and instruct them that they may see Yahweh of the Elohim's very great and marvelous works. The hour has approached for me to go on up to heaven. Behold, the Elohim are standing before me and urging me to my departure from you. They are standing here on earth, awaiting what has been told them. For tomorrow I shall go up onto heaven to the uppermost city of Salam, to my eternal inheritance. Therefore, I bid you to do before Yahweh's face all his good pleasure. Listen to me, my children, today. In those days when the Yahweh the Elohim came down on earth for Adam's sake and visited all his creatures which he created himself. After all these he created Adam, and Yahweh the Elohim called the beasts of the earth, all the reptiles and all the birds that soar in the air, and brought them all before the face of Adam. And Adam gave the names to all things living on earth. And Yahweh the Elohim appointed him ruler over all, and subjected to him all things under his hands, and made them dumb, and made them dull, that they be commanded of man, and be in subjection and obedience to him. Thus also Yahweh the Elohim created every man God over all his possessions. Yahweh the Elohim will not judge a single soul of beast for man's sake, but judges the soul of men to their beast in this world, for men have a special place. And as every soul of man is according to number, similarly beast will not perish, not all souls of beasts which the Lord created till the great judgment, and they will accuse man if he be them ill. He was the killing of a man's soul, and kill his own body, and there is no cure for him for all time. He who puts a man to any temptation shall stick in it himself, and there is no cure for him for all time. He who puts a man in any vessel,
his
retribution will not be wanting at the great judgment for all time. He who works crookedly or speaks evil against any soul will not make justice for himself for all times. Keep your souls from all injustice. Walk before Yahweh the Elohim with terror and trembling and serve him alone. For the Yahweh Elohim sees all things. Now, what do you mean by he sees all things? The Most High is inside you. He's your soul. And traveling up and down from heaven is up and down the spinal column as you raise your lights, right? So when you close your eyes, if you can still see the one who's looking when your eyes are closed, you know he never sleeps or slumbers, because you see things in your dreams when your physical body and your brain is shut down at night. For the Yahweh of the Elohim, this is chapter 11, tablet 12, verse 27. For the Yahweh of the Elohim sees all things when man takes thought in his heart. Then he counsels the intellect, and every thought is always before Yahweh the Elohim, who made firm the earth and put all creatures on it. If you look to heaven, Yahweh of the Elohim is there. If you take thought of the seas deep and under earth, Yahweh of the Elohim is there. Walk, my children, in long suffering, in meekness, in honesty, in provocation, in grief, in faith, in truth, and reliance on promises, in illness, in abuse, in wounds, in temptation, in nakedness, in privation, loving one another, till you go out from this age of ills, that you become inheritors of endless time. Blessed are the just, who shall escape the great judgment, for they shall shine forth more than the sun sevenfold. For in this world the seventh part is taken off from all: light, darkness, food, enjoyment, sorrow, paradise, torture, fire, frost, and other things. He put down all in writing, that you might read and overstand. When man clothes the naked and fills the hungry, he will find reward from Yahweh of the Elohim. But if his heart murmur, he commit a double evil, ruin of himself and of that which he gives, and for him there will be no finding reward on account of that. In other words, if a person give and then brag about it, and if his own heart or grumble about it, and if his own heart is filled with his food, and his own flesh with his clothing, he commits contempt and will forfeit all his endurance of poverty, and will not find reward of his good deeds. Every proud man is hateful to Yahweh of the Elohim, and every false speech clothed in untruth, and will be cut with the blade of the sword of death, and thrown into the fire, and shall burn for all time. Then the time came to depart. It came to pass that when I had spoken to my sons, these men summoned me and took me on their wings and placed me on the clouds, and lo, the clouds moved. We're speaking about craft. Going higher, I saw the air, and going still higher, I saw the ether. And they placed me in the first heaven, and showed me a very great sea, greater than the earthly sea, ascending thus unto the heavens upon clouds that move. And for many of you, you know, when the crafts, they look at the book that the master teacher Nietzsche for the Atom wrote called Mystery Clouds, and you find that as these crafts come from one dimension to another, the first form they take is a vapory mist or steam that appears to be a cloud, right? Or a ghost. Okay, I was transported from the first heaven, where 200 Agigi ruled the stars, to the second gloomy heaven, then the third heaven. There I was taken into a biosphere in the Nibiru that looked like a garden, with the goodness of its appearance, beautiful and fragrant trees and fruits, and the midst therein is a tree of life. In that place on which the Anunnaki rests when he comes into paradise. I was stunned by the tree's magnificence. It is beautiful more than any created thing. On all sides its appearance, it is like gold and crimson, transparent as fire. From its root go 4 streams which pour honey, milk, oil, and wine, and they go down from this heavenly paradise to the paradise of Eden, making a revolution around earth. This third heaven and its tree of life are guarded by 300 very glorious Agigis. It is in the third heaven that the place of the righteousness and the terrible place where the wicked are tortured and situated. Going further up to the further heaven, I could see the luminaries and various wondrous creatures and the host of the ruler Anu. In the 5th heaven, he saw many hosts, and the 6th band of Anunnaki, who studied the evolutions of the stars. Then he reached the 7th heaven, where the greatest Anunnaki hurried about, and where he saw the ruler, Anu, from afar, sitting on his throne. I bear witness. The 2 winged men and their moving cloud placed me at the limits of the 7th heaven and left. Whereupon the ruler sent the arch Anunnaki Elohim Nusku, who bore the title Gabriel, son of Raphael and Zamael, to fetch me into his presence for 30 and 3 days. Remember the number 33. I was instructed in all the wisdoms and all the events of the past and the future that I was returned to earth by an awful Anunnaki who had a very cold appearance. My return to earth was only so that I might instruct my sons in the laws and commandments. 30 days later, I was taken up again onto the heavens, this time for good. Anybody have a question about what we just read or about anything else they'd like to share?
Hey, Robert, this is talking about Enoch, right?
Yes. No, Adolpha.
Adolpha, okay.
Yes, How are you?
Now, the clouds, those are crabs that he was being taken
Those are crabs, right? Exactly. In other words, when you see, a lot of crabs are not just interplanetary crabs, but they're also interdimensional. Are you following me? In other words, when they come from one dimension to another, it's just like a simple substance like water at room temperature. Again, do not get bored, you all. It's a liquid as far as water. And when you slow down the vibrations, in the freezer, it turns into a solid that you call ice. When you put it in a pot under a high fire and it rotates fast, it converts the liquid into a steam or a gas that you call steam, and eventually it'll be nothing, and then it'll convert to ether, into nothing that you can see that's tangible at all. And then what happens is that when things come, so the transitory state between the higher realm, the next dimension, and this physical dimension, is when you transit between the two, as an etheric or a gaseous state, when something is starting to manifest on this side. That's why when some people die, or supposedly die, make a separation, that people that are close to the deceased, the so-called deceased, can see them in the form of a vapory matter, or that you call a specter, or a ghost, or a fog. Are you following me?
Yeah. They can also come in the spirit of animals too, right?
Can who come? The people, yes, they can. I saw that one time. Really saw that one time in New Orleans. In fact, my father got in a dog. My father got in his dog shuttle to look at me one time.
We had an experience like that today.
Okay. Next question. Rahubat, how you doing?
All right, Pop. I wanted to ask, when Adolpha was given instructions, it sounded somewhat like commandments, like on what to be careful for and not to do. I wanted to kind of go over that again and get a clear understanding of that.
Well, you write about it. Do you have the Holy Tablets too?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, it was what you heard is what you heard, and there's nothing else I can do to clarify it, except that it was commandments given to him by Yahweh through the Elohim, or the Anunnaki, or the angelic beings, that was sent to him with instruction.
So
it was commandments.
Okay. All right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, if you wanted to share something with us, you called me today and told me about an experience that you had, a spiritual experience, that you want to share that with the rest of us right now.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. I'll start with the one I spoke about with the spiritual packages I received.
All right.
Okay, and after a class that we had about last month, I did the meditation on the Master Teacher being free and standing on the shores. And I was in meditation for it felt like only a minute, or only a few minutes, and I opened my eyes and picked it open, and it had actually been about 13 or 15 minutes. And I walked in and looked at the clock in the living room as well as in my room, and it was right. When I walked back into my room, it seemed like the whole room was one tint of like a gold misty color. With that being said, what I did was I continued the spiritual packages. I increased it because of what happened. And I had actually got to the point when I called you that Saturday, and I had moved the pen with my mind, like a hairpin, a pen needle.
Right.
So that's just confirmation that those packages definitely work.
I love you, and I'll send you something else to speak to, because I'm encouraged by the fact that you're using the spiritual packages to help yourself transform. Thank you. Anybody else have a question?
No, I got a question.
I'll do my best.
This has been Amun. The spiritual package that the brother was just talking about, what does that contain? What is that about?
Well, it doesn't, you have to call me personally, because every package is designed specifically for the person that I send it to, right? I don't have a package that's one size fits all. Are you following me? In other words, everybody's at a different place in their spiritual evolution, right? And so what I do is I talk to a person on the phone when they call me at home, and then I listen to them, and we talk back and forth. Then together we decide what would be most beneficial to them.
Rahubat, Brother Moon.
Rahubat.
Okay, well, we're saying there I was, taken into a biosphere.
Biosphere, yeah.
Biosphere that looked like a body. Could you kind of expound on that, what he was talking about?
What he was talking about in the Nibiru, what you see, you got to remember that planet of the crossing, or the planet ship Nibiru is actually a planet. Are you following me?
Right.
And when you get there, there are beautiful gardens and trees that the Anunnaki that dwell there, they occupy that and they live in that place. And it's beautiful. He was describing that it's really a physical place with gardens and trees and flowers and fruits, etc., right? That are beyond the beauty of anything that you can witness here on earth, for example.
Okay.
Okay. Next question.
Hey, Amun.
Hey, Rahubat.
Hey, you remember you remember about past life?
Yes.
You know, like living a past life?
Yes.
But you know that in your present life you don't remember. I wonder could you choose, you know, who you be, you know, what who you gonna be in your future, you know, the next life?
Very good question. And the answer is yes. And the fact is that you do. Your oversoul does come here and select what you're going to be, what your gender is going to be. You even select and choose your parents, believe it or not, before you come. That's right. And a lot of people might be shocked to know it, that people that are born blind or crippled, they also choose that. Because the oversoul chooses for some specific lessons that it needs to learn in order to accelerate its growth and development, right? Such as humility or patience and all these other attributes to perfect itself. But you got to remember that the diseases of the body does not affect the soul, okay? In a direct sense, you know. Okay. Next question. Good question.
Hey, I'll back out another.
I'll do my best.
In chapter 15, verse 167, speaks about these changes are the result of a new biological life that the soul being introduced by the new administrative order in conjunction with the Council of Nine Ether. Well, what is the Council of Nine Ether?
The Council of Nine Ether are those higher beings that are over you, the Elohim, that are coming down here to introduce a new light or a new vibration into their system for those that are ready for it, in order to transform them into a less dense being, so that they won't be affected when time gets beyond repair, because the ultraviolet rays are accelerating, the heat is coming up, and the financial climate and wars and rumors of wars, the disease and earthquakes and weather, etc. You can look around you and see that it's getting very, very, very hazardous and treacherous to live in this domain at this time, so that you're going to actually go from electron, proton, neutron, to neutron, electron, proton, going to become less dense and more spiritual, so that you won't be affected by the things that take place. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Now, in other words, if you slam your finger in the car door, right? Physically, that hurts, doesn't it?
Good.
But does that hurt your spirit or your soul, your inner being?
No.
No. In other words, if you go outside and it's 20 below zero, your physical body gets cold, but your spirit maintains a body temperature of 98.6. Isn't that? Are you following me?
Yeah.
In other words, we put a thermometer in your mouth. Your spirit remains the same temperature regardless of what the outside temperature is, and no matter how cold your body gets. Are you following me? So it's not affected by that. In other words, if you close your physical eyes, you can still see with your mind's eye, your third eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even when your brain and your physical body shuts down and goes to sleep at night, you still see things that move around actively and go from place to place in the spirit, because it never slumbers. And when you, for example, want to eat more than you need out of gluttony or greed, the spirit is the voice that tells you you don't need that. Because when does the spirit get hungry or cold or sick or die?
Never.
Never. That's why when they check the body or the pulse and they said she's cold now, she's gone, that means that the woman's body has been separated from the spirit, because the light is the life in man or woman. So if the spirit is gone and someplace else, she might be in a room watching you or check her pulse and vitals, you know, and confused about what's happening. But she's not dead. She's just not in that body no longer. And evidence of it is the first thing they holler is she's cold now, she's gone. Because remember, if it's 10 degrees below zero and you go outside and they stick a thermometer in your mouth, you still maintain a concentration of 98.6, because the light is not only giving off, your spirit is not only giving off light, but it also gives off heat, because it's energy. Are you following me? So when a person gets cold, that's indication that that spirit or that light and that heat is left. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question.
Go back, Brother Moon. Okay, I was studying my black book this week, and I had a put back on the extra on expound on with me.
I'll do my best.
It was a question to ask. What are biaps? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what are biaps? Okay.
What are biaps?
Okay.
Are two apertures. Then they transform into Z or zilla. So my question is, so how does it take place when the biap, when it transforms into zilla or is zilla?
Oh, yeah, Zedis. Sometimes it's spelled Z-E-D-E-S, and sometimes Z-E-L-E-S. Zedis or Zedis, right? What you're talking about is subatomic particles, right? And biaperture means two. You know, not like bifocals or bicycle is all it is, right? So when you look at an atom, you have electrons, protons, and neutrons, and then when by nuclear fission or fusion, a lot of times through reaction. Let me try to give you a little bit more clarity about this, right? Is that when you look at, for example, the periodic chart, that you have 99 physical elements that are documented in physical creation, starting with the lightest element, which is hydrogen, 1, which means that there's only one electron in the first K shell, or revolving around the nucleus, or the proton, or the nucleus of the atom. It's an incomplete atom. And you would take iron, for example, would have 26 heavy particles in it, going up to Einsteinium now, and there was only 99 that we speaking about documented. So that anything that exists under hydrogen 1 would be on the etheric side of things, on the things that don't exist, right? In other words, anything from hydrogen 1 up would be considered something, or the sum of things, SUM-THING, the sum of things. And anything on the other side of that chart below hydrogen 1 would be considered nothing. Anything else on the other side of the periodic chart, under hydrogen 1, would be considered nothing, or no thing, which means something without its atomic number. In other words, when we look at you as a twofold being with a body and a soul, your soul weighs on an average of about 22 grams. Did you all know that? It's been documented that when a person is in the throes of death, that they put them on very, very sensitive scales, that at the moment, the instant, extremely sensitive scales, at the instant that the soul leaves the body, that the scale registers a loss of 22, on average, about 22 grams in weight. When they say, okay, he or she is cold, they're gone now, right? So we're talking about that aspect of your being that's considered nothing. Now, the reason why I mentioned that the soul has weight is because I'm telling you that it's something without atomic number. In other words, anything under hydrogen 1 is not documented as something that exists in physical reality, that's tangible, that you can see, hear, feel, smell, taste, or touch. So they consider it nothing. But it is actually something that's less dense than the things that you can see, like the sound that you can hear from a hunter blowing a silent whistle that the hunter and you can't hear, but the dog's ears perk up 50 yards away, because the vibration of the sound is beyond your perception, as far as things that are beyond your perception, as far as what you can see and touch and feel, is the same thing. So subatomic particles, the word sub, like submarine, means under. It means under hydrogen 1, or beneath the realm of reality, or beneath this density level, so that it's considered nothing, which is actually something without its atomic number. Then you come into subatomic particles. In other words, again, the lightest thing that said to exist is hydrogen 1. And we know it's light because Zeppelins are made of gas with hydrogen and helium, which has 2 electrons in the first K shell. But you know, a Zeppelin, when you, or a balloon at the circus, when you put a helium in it and you let it go, you see how it floats straight up in the air. It's lighter than air. So what would be the weight of helium or hydrogen if you put it on a scale? Are you following me? You can't weigh it. Are you following me? So anything under that, they consider nothing at all, because they can't weigh it or touch it or see it or feel it. Are you following me? But it does exist, and it is substance, it is matter, but it's of a less dense quality, and it's made of subatomic particles called zetas and neutrini and charm, etc., etc., etc. Are you following me? It's what we would call the spiritual realm. Okay? Anything beneath hydrogen 1 is considered the spiritual realm, right? Like the life body of the woman that passes away, and he said, okay, she's cold now, she's gone. And then one of her daughters or sons see her stand at the foot of the bed that night, telling them and telepathically that everything is all right, not to worry. That woman and that form is the same woman that you saw in the bodily form, because the spirit is the blueprint for the physical form, but it's in a much less dense form right then. Are you following me? And would be made of these subatomic particles like Zeeles and charm and neutrino. Okay? Is that clear for you? What's your question?
Okay, so you have hydrogen with the H1, then you got helium. So you're going up the periodic table. So you're saying going the opposite way, going down to the subatomic level. Those elements are on the subatomic level. That's what starts to make up the elements that consist of the soul.
Yeah, the spirit, etc. Right. That's what you would call that. You're going because you instead of hydrogen, you call that ether 1, ether 2. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Very good. Mm-hmm.
Well, back, Brother Amun.
Okay.
All right. The question is at times, to the spiritual packages, I've been able to become more conscious with the astral traveling and mind voyages. And at certain times, when I'm dreaming or traveling, I can at times when I'm traveling, I can see. Okay, for example, if I was doing pull-ups in my dreams, which I sometimes consciously will exercise, I can see my arm, and at other times I can see my whole other self. Is that a multidimensional me, or what is the difference in the separation?
Well, that's what you call bilocation, right? In other words, a lot of us have had dreams. We'll call it dreams, or out-of-body experience where that we, for example, saw ourselves walking down the street with somebody else. So when you see yourself from another perspective, when you see your whole being, that's bilocation. In other words, bi is another way to say two, like bicycle or bifocals, right? So that you, the one you're looking at is you, and also the one that's looking. Which you know that because there's a twofold you. Because if I ask you to look in the mirror and look at your face, you said, I see the physical me, Brother Amun. Then if I ask you to close your physical eyes and ask if you can still see your face if you want to with your mind's eye, what's the answer?
Right.
Okay. So I'm just trying to show you, not only is that possible, but I'm trying to show you who's being looked at and who's the watcher, who's looking too.
Right.
That's the one that your soul said in chapter 11 that I came down here and I got involved in the corporal body in order to experience corporal or physical things, but that the man or the woman got lost in the things of the world. Are you following me?
Yes.
And forgot about the soul itself, which is the creator of all of that. Are you following me?
Yes.
And that's what the transformation is. That's what the trip is. That's the journey within us. That's what turning yourself inside out is about, or making the inner journey. That the master teacher came here as the ultimate spiritual guide to guide us back to the reality of ourself, who, the creative force of will, Yahuwah. Yahu, Yamin La, Yalabu Mahu Allahu. Oh, he who no one knows who he is, saved himself.
Okay.
Elyon, El.
All right, I'm going to turn a little bit to make it crystal clear for myself, Pop. So you're saying even though I'm seeing myself and seeing my arms and things, when I even see that and see my physical self, and see another me interdimensionally traveling, you're saying that is what you're saying is by accident?
No, by location. In other words, being in two places at once. In other words, the you that you're looking at is, okay, let me say this. Again, if you're in the house where you're at right now, and somebody catch you in your room, and then you talking to yourself, and they say, who you talking? You laugh and say, you caught me. I'm in here talking to myself, right? That's happened. Okay, now which one is you, the I or the myself?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. But it can be argued that the myself is also you, right? If there's nobody in the room but you, who's the myself?
Okay, I understand. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that's the two of you that's there. That's my point, right? And then they can be separated by spatial proximity. In other words, just because the spirit is inside the body doesn't mean that it can't leave out of the body in its perspective, because the spirit or the inner being is not contained contained inside the body like a genie in a bottle. It's not restricted to the parameters of the body, to the walls of the body. Like your mind is not trapped inside the cavity of your cranium like your brain between your ears. Your mind is the middle reservoir, and we all share the same universal mind, the mother mind of Pau, or all. All right? Are you following me? So that's a different, so your inner being is a giant self that can see the physical body from any perspective. But the thing is we usually perceive it as being inside of the inner being. It's just a terminology that we use. Are you following? But it's not an actual fact that your higher self is inside of you. Because the same inner being or the same light that's inside of you is inside of me as well. That's the reality. The illusion is that you're there and I'm here. That's why the master teacher says that you are the center of existence and all things are equal distance from you, and I'm the center of existence and all things are equal distance from me, and he's El Cook, the axis, the center of existence. Are you following me?
I do. Okay.
So the center's in the same place, but the I is in the same place. It's only one. So it makes the I single again. It's only, we are one. That's why Jesus said, I and my Father are one. Well, the Father, but he also says, our Father who art in
heaven.
Right. So if he's on earth, and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven, so he's saying that we are on earth, right? Or he's on earth, right?
Right.
And the Heavenly Father is not on earth, because he says, I'm from above and you're from below. Now, in order for him to make the statement that my Father who art in heaven and I'm on earth, that would be a separation of spatial proximity from a physical perspective. Then he turns around to confuse a person that's not conscious and says, I and my Father are one, meaning that we are both the center of existence, we're both in the same place. So he's not speaking about the physical body. He's saying that from a physical perspective, that my body is down here in another place. But the inner being, the ultimate reality, the creator, is all in one place because there's only one. Is anybody confused by what I'm saying? If so, please ask questions. It's important that you will understand these knotty points like that.
It's clear. It's all right.
Okay, what about anybody else? Is everybody clear about what I just said? This is the place to start asking you questions, right in here. That's where it gets knotty at, tricky. The lines are often blurred between the inner you and the outer you, of the higher consciousness of the physical body, the I and the myself. Are you following me? Okay. Next question, then.
See my mom, or I would ask her about it as I got older. She didn't have questions. You know, that's just one of those things, and just brought this information or this knowledge, this memory of remembering back to me. I was an Ansar at the time in college, and I was reading the 83rd chapter of the Quran that talks about Ilion and Siddiq and where the good deeds are kept and negative deeds are kept. From that point on, you know, it's just about, you know, studying and applying, because we're obviously here for school to learn.
Well, let me say, I want to add some things to it. Now, like what the brother said about he came down into the baby, and he, remember that Atum Ray, when he came as Bennett, and I took you all to page 304 of the Injil to show you in the bottom tafsir that there were 29 of us all cited that year of the coming of Bennett. But the point is that he said that he came down as a ball of light, or a spiritual essence, or Makeva, into a little brown copper-toned baby under cover of a thunderstorm at 12 o'clock at night, 1945, June 26th. He came down to a little brown copper-toned baby. Now, that's what the brother's talking about. And all it is he's remembering. He was gifted by the source to remember and instructed to remember so that he could give that message to you all here that are gathering right now, tonight, that are trying to remember and reconnect with the reality of your own higher selves. So please take instruction from that, because he's acting in the form of a messenger right now from the source that's delivering a very, very important message to you, that we have all grabbed a little yellow and red slinky caterpillar toy, and it got stuck with our cars and our men and our women and our money and our houses and our things and our ego and the I, and the myself as opposed to the I, and we done got locked into the storyline, and we done forgot and become enocytes, and then fell down
then really fell from grace. Now it's time for us to turn ourselves inside out. And again, this brother Amos, I thank you again for sharing that with us, my brother. And I appreciate it so much. And I hope everybody understands that what Adolfo was talking about in chapter 11, about 33, talking about the notches in the spinal column as he was taken up through the seven heavens. You have seven planes inside your body. Again, like Jacob that had saw in the vision, the angels are sitting and descending up and down the ladder in heaven. The ladder is the spinal column. So we traveling up and down, inside. Everything is inside you. There is no out there. So understand that all these things are going on inside you. It's just different levels of your own consciousness that makes you perceive that you're traveling from one place to another. And the same way that when you go to sleep at night, your head's on a pillow, and then you travel to Philadelphia and California and to childhood and into the future. But as you wake up, you start realizing that your head never left the pillow, because you are the center of existence, and all things are equal distance from you. And the only reality is that everything is here and now. Is everybody clear about that?
Yes, Rahul back.
Okay, Rahul back.
Yeah, I mean, to me it made a whole lot of sense. This is Brother Kappa Tune.
To me, too.
On this Troy.
Yes, I know, Troy. See, now, you and I, we know, it's a lot of us here, most of us here know that what he's saying is true. Because when I was a little child, I could see my mother's aura and all of that, and had out-of-body experiences, and I was telling her that this is a middle universe. I mean, at 7 years old, I was telling her this is a middle universe, and one day everybody would have big heads that this is a middle universe, right, and all of that. And she would say, yeah, baby, I know. Okay, Mama know, baby. You see?
See, when I first started having my experiences as a teenager, that's when I was doing what he said. I was praying a lot, and then I would always ask, and every time I made salat or prayer, I would always ask to remember, equivalent to like 4 times each time I prayed, help me to remember you and to thank you. And then eventually within that, that period of time, I started having these experiences where, my senses at height. And I always had thought that it was something that it was like I was somewhere else, and I took it on like a challenge to find, to see if I could find my way back. And it's always been in the back of my head, in the back of my mind.
Right. Very good. Thank you. Next question. Did we generate any questions for anybody? All you brothers and sisters are very clear about everything you heard? Who back?
I had a question on a point you mentioned earlier, not to get off the subject, about when the spirit leaves the body when the loved one passed away, and it appears to you at the foot of the bed.
Yeah.
Does that spirit, do they have a window or a time frame that they have to let you know that everything is okay before angels come and take that spirit?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. They don't have a, because they can come, 10 years later. What it is that, let me explain something to you. When your spirit separates from your body, then you're no longer, you're divested of the physical garment, then you're no longer part of the physical plane. You can't participate for the lack of a physical body. So when you ascend to the spiritual plane, it's governed by different laws. It's not governed by gravity, or for example. That's why when you take water with heat and convert it into a steam you call gas, it travels upward because it's not bound by gravity. It becomes light like helium and hydrogen, and it starts going toward the etheric realm. Things become light, and they float up. So the only way that they come down here to you, to this realm, is by not gravity, but the laws of attraction. So that it depends on her how close she was emotionally to you, right? And from the place that she's at, with the all-seeing eye or the spiritual eye, she can see all things, everything that she focuses on. So if she focuses on your life in particular, because you're a child or a best friend or whatever, and then she sees something, because the spirit can see the future and the past, and she sees something coming up, and then she's concerned about it, and she wants to warn you about it, for example, and then she may appear at the foot of your bed 10 years later to come to you to try to communicate to you the information that she saw, so that you could avert, a problem in your life. Are you following me? For example, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Next question. Any more questions?
I have a question.
I'll do my best.
As I was listening to the brother that remembered his past before he came to Earth,
Yes.
I don't know, the hairs on my shoulders standing up as I listening to him because his tone is the same to me as the master teacher, just listening to him. It's
Right.
like as if he was speaking directly through him
Right.
with his tone. And it's like, is this not the master teacher speaking through him to us? Because as I listen to some of the tapes, the tone sounds the same.
And that's quite possible. And that's quite possible because they're coming from the same place. And on that level of his consciousness, he is one with the master teacher. Not Malachi York, but or the inner being, the higher self, right? Just like we're not talking about the brother Atmos, that's the school teacher, the physical one that comes over to my house. I'm talking about the one inside of him and the one inside of you. They're all one.
Right.
And see, they're all vibrating on the same frequency. In other words, when you called up here to this class, like everybody else, you dialed very specific numbers, sister. And if you would have got one number out of place, you'd have ended up talking to somebody different. Are you following me? So what happens is that in that place, in that abode, on that level, it's all one frequency. It's all on the same vibration. That's the same tone. Are you following me?
I follow.
So that is the master teacher speaking to you. Sometimes, last class we had, it was the sister that was delivering, I think it was you. It was the sister delivering the message of the Most High. That was you.
What?
You hear me?
What?
And you were acting wonderfully in that capacity. That's what it means by the spirit of the Messiah, Yahshua, would come and fold or overshadow all the souls of the personage of all the people as come as a collective spirit. Are you following me?
I follow.
Okay.
Oh, peace in paradise.
I love you.
Go back.
Okay.
But Amun, are there any exercises that you have that can help us remember some of the dreams we may have had with our master teacher?
Yeah, that's what the spiritual package. That's what the spiritual packages are about. So if you want to call me, do you have my home number?
Yes.
Okay, call me on my home number and get my address, and so we can get together and I can put together a package for you designed to help you retrain yourself to remember things like that. Okay, I have information very specific to that. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But I would say, just the short answer is, before you go to sleep, I would like you to make the affirmation over and over again to yourself that I will remember my dreams tonight. I will wake up and remember my dreams. And say that to yourself over and over again until you're in the throes between sleep and being waking and sleep. But when you're in the throes, as you pass over into that realm, just keep repeating to yourself, I will remember my dreams, and that believe me, that'll be very, very effective in helping you to remember. Okay. It's all mental. In other words, it's all mental. Everything is mental.
Right. What about the dreams that you remember having the dreams, but there's so many things happening? You have like a group of students all dressed in white, but I wouldn't remember the rest of the things that we're being taught or the other places that we've been. I'd like to remember.
Okay, that's what you have to do. Be very specific about what it is you want to remember. Say to your oversoul that I will remember all of my dreams in vivid detail. And one thing I can tell you physically that'll be a good tool for you is to remember as soon as you wake up physically, always keep a pen and a paper or a tape recorder by your bed so that as soon as you wake up, when it's vivid in your mind, that you can write down everything that you remember detail that you experienced or record it on a tape recorder. Because as the day goes on, you lose more and more details. It gets foggier and more vague. So after a day, you don't hardly remember. You'd be surprised how much you remember when you first wake up, right then, that instant, before you get a chance to remember where you at, what time it is, and whether you got to go to work. You know, those things, the mundane things that distract you in the world. You follow me? Before you touch the yellow and red caterpillar toy again, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? I love you all, you know that, and I really have. I feel real warm when I'm with you all. I really do. I really, and I feel encouraged, and I really feel sure that we're in the right place, doing the right thing, and that we're going to make it. back home. I can feel it. I can feel it that we're making progress. Don't you all feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you all on mute, so you can't talk, but okay, it's all right. I know you feel it. And that's why we are here gathered. Okay, I love you all, and I'm going to give you a good night for the night, but make sure that you bring some people with you Sunday, because it's going to be revelation time. Let's do this thing. And after class, I want everybody to take at least 15 minutes to visualize the master teacher standing on the beach of Ghana, free on the sand in Ghana, Africa, and visualize yourself standing there next to him. All right. I love y'all. Well, I do.